I just wanted to thank Lama for being the liaison between the Albany Public Library and Tibetan community. So it was through Lama that we were able to, catch on the plane and to have this program basically. So thank you, Lama to share our journey. So because in that was the divine forget the future. That was the desert in the one hundred sugar zero. But the Lama near money. 다 지금 아주 그백이 좀 나한테 변조가 막 고치를 시행하는 거와 한테 대신 딱 가진 뒤에 대행께 하는 아주 내시지요와 이 토는 딱 아주 초배치는 진짜 맞아 리버치에 보스도 소나지요와 그래서 딱 아주 보조해야 되는 시험은 딱 이게 그런 변조기 오제 부셔야지 딱 아주 대행이 보조가 되는 마음 근데 내저 양도는 내저 제한 망고지만 우리 디슈기 연수샤요와 So that the was a mountain and that happened to Buddha chart there, the Buddha was a nation in the Sheshua. I think about the desert that they would have this year. So basically, in addition to what I said, we have a year-long program of His Holiness' 90th birthday, for which, as I told you before, just a few minutes back, we just wanted to have a kind of art exhibition here at the library, and for which I wanted to seek your help in that regard. So basically that's what it is. So to the North Tibetans, probably I'll just be very brief with what I want to say today, but because the essence of this evening's gathering is about the Tibetan dance. But for the non-initiated non-Tibetans, about Tibet, basically I just wanted to give a brief introduction about what Tibet is all about and who we Tibetans here in America, in exile, why are we here? So basically, we were, Tibet was an independent country until 1959, when the Communist Chinese illegally occupied the country. In the aftermath of this occupation, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, followed by thousands of Tibetans, had to flee Tibet. And that was on March the 17th. And on March the 31st, after, traveling on horseback, on foot, crossing the treacherous Himalayan, the mountains, he finally reached India on March the 31st, 1959. And since then, today, he's been living in India for the past 66 years. I mean, he's still a refugee there, traveling on a refugee passport, traveling all over the world, just talking about peace, compassion, and trying to, get support for our Tibetan cause. So basically, that is what it is, why these Holiness and the Tibetans are here, we are still refugees in exile. And of course, prior to 1959, we were an independent country with our own flag, our Tibetan national flag, we had our own currency. Any activities or programs of an independent nation that Tibet was a free country prior to 1959, and that we were forced to leave our country. In exile, we just have over, almost 200,000 Tibetans here in exile. Rest of our brothers and sisters, our families, they're back home, still undergoing, a lot of sufferings. There's, human rights violations. Even to have this flag, this is our Tibetan national flag. We can't have this flag in our country. If you have this, or even the portrait of the Dalai Lama, you're back in prison. So there's so much of human rights violation in Tibet. I mean, we are in a free country, we're able to have this, we're able to have His Holiness's photo, we're able to express our feelings for our countrymen back home who are, going through a lot at this point of time. At this point of time, we have over 1 million Tibetan children who are forced into residential schools, They're deprived from moved away, taken away from their parents, born at the age of, kindergarten, graduate school kids. At that age, we have over 1 million Tibetans forced in a residential Chinese school where they are only taught about Chinese, their language, their history, nothing about Tibet. So, they've been forcefully assimilated, like trying to wipe out our culture. Basically, that's what is going on right now. And at this point in time, as I said, let me repeat that there are over 1 million Tibetan kids who are separated from their parents and forced in a residential schools. So that's what the condition of our so far as our cultural preservation is concerned, So we in our free world, as I said, we are about 200,000 Tibetans in exile. We are better able to preserve our culture in exile than our brothers and sisters back home. So that's what we are at this point in time. So, they are kind of hoping, of course, as I said, there's dearth of human rights there. And they're relying on the Tibetans in exile and to our friends, to our supporters all over the world. They're hoping that His Holiness would return, the Tibetans in exile would return back home one day. And for that hope to become a realization, for that hope to be fulfilled, we need your support at this point in time. And we're going through a critical phase at this time. His Holiness just turned 90 on July the 6th. And so, with his advancing age, things are, at a very precarious situation at this point in time. So, we really need your support at this point in time. We need two hands to clap. And that's why we cannot just, as Tibetans, we cannot simply do anything against this powerful Chinese government. And we need your support, non-Tibetans, for us, so that we can be, so that His Holiness, who's been in exile for the past 66 years, can return home to his people, who've been waiting every moment of the day, praying, so that, they could see His Holiness back in his palace, the Winter Palace, the Potala Palace. So that's what it is at this point in time. So, without taking much time on the historical aspect of time, let me just tell you something about our Tibetan organization here. So, I'll just go through this PowerPoint as to what we at the Tibetan community here in the Bay Area do. And we are actually about 3,000 to 4,000 Tibetans living in the Bay Area. And we are all, it's a small, cohesive kind of organization, very closely knit. We know basically each other a lot because we have a lot of community gatherings. So in the Bay Area, which is about, as I said, between 4,000 to 5,000, and we are considered the second most populated Tibetan community in America and in the US. The first being New York. Then, they say that we are second in line with the most Tibetans in the area, and then third comes Minnesota and so forth and so on. But essentially, basically there are about 20 or 25,000 Tibetans in America, and that includes even Canada as well. So that's our population here in the thing. Our community center is in Richmond, and we bought this community center in 2011. And with the support of the city council, we were able to rename that street to the Dalai Lama Avenue. Earlier it used to be Huntington Avenue, so we renamed that some years back. So now it's the Dalai Lama Avenue. And we bought our community center in 2011. And so this is how we started, when we started, it's just 6th July. It's been 34 years now. And July 19th, we just had a handful of Tibetans in the 90s, and there were about 11 Tibetans who founded the Tibetan the Tibetan Association. Earlier, they used to gather in public parks on the weekends, but now, we have a community center, So this is when we kind of founded the Tibetan Association. And of course, we are, registered as a non-profit entity, registered in 1994. And our motto is unity of purpose, strength in diversity. And then the logo, we have the four harmonious animals. Basically, it's from an extract from our Tibetan folklore, four Tibetan animals. I don't want to go into all the details of this, it's going to take a long time. So our mission is to preserve our culture, language, and support self-rule. One of the key factors of our struggle is that we're not seeking independence from the Chinese government. Rather, we're seeking self-rule under the Chinese leadership, under the Chinese rule, whereby we can take care of preserve our language and all this stuff. So it's called through the middle way approach. So that's what it is, so support Tibetan self-rule under the guidance of His Holiness, and to propagate or spread about the Tibetan administration in exile back in India. So that's our mission. And some of the programs that we host at our community center is that we have a Sunday Tibetan Cultural School, whereby we have about 254, the last count was 254 Tibetan kids enrolled in our Tibetan language and music program. So we have that every Sunday, and then with about 24 teachers, many of them are volunteers. So every Sunday we have our class from 10 to 1 o'clock. And this is not just confined to the Tibetans, the enrollment is open to everyone. So you don't really have to be Tibetan to be enrolled in that program. So essentially, it's open. And then beside that, we have our community cafe events. Well, it's, some may question as to how we can survive the community center, because we have to pay a mortgage, there are a lot of overheads. So, way back in 2014, we started what we call the Tibetan Community Cafe, whereby every second Sunday, we host Tibetan food. We sell Tibetan dumplings and Tibetan food. And with the proceeds, we support our programs. We have a sponsor, basically, a benefactor, she helped our Tibetan, school graduates, she helps our kids with the school and college scholarship every year. So every year we're able to support about 20 to 25 Tibetan kids with their school and college tuition. So we have that. And then we have, of course, outreach program and youth development programs. And then we have the elders care program, whereby every Wednesday, now we just switch the timing, every evening, Wednesday, we try to organize some activities for our seniors, having yoga programs, and then talk on, introduction of the Buddhist philosophies and all this stuff. And again, our activities are open for everyone, it's just not confined to the kids. So that's what it is. And then we have the health promotion program, whereby we have a health committee who looks after the well-being of our community. So in that, we have some Tibetan doctors, and of course Tibetan both allopathy and traditional Tibetan medicine. And then we have nurses as well, trying to take care of the well-being of our community. And so you see, these are some of the kids. I'm sorry, it's kind of hazy, but as I said, we have over 250 Tibetan kids enrolled in our Sunday program. Let me just run through it very fast. And so, these are the features, we do. These are part of the programs that we just recently organized. And of course, we need your support, as I said, not only politically, but, sometimes even financially as well, to run our programs and all this stuff. So, we depend on donations and membership fees. And so you can donate online through our website, and then we have those. So we have, some of our board members there. We have some T-shirts for sale. The proceeds go towards, again, to our community, and then we have the pins as well. So let me just talk to you a bit about all this stuff. So basically, that's really about what it is, yeah. And talking about tonight's event, I think the essence of our meeting today is about the dance, the Tibetan Lhakar dance, yeah. So let me just go through some of yeah, basically the Lhakar movement, this is Lhakar basically means White Wednesday, or basically pure dedication. That's the another connotation for Lhakar. And so this was started. This movement was started back in Tibet, from Tibet, after the the uprising of 2008, whereby Tibetans rose against the Chinese, non-violently, peacefully against the Chinese leadership, seeking the return of His Holiness, and basically at that point in time it was, urging the world to, the UN and the Olympic Committee to cancel the Olympics that was awarded to China, basically. So the movement started in 2008 back in Tibet. And basically what this is it's about civil disobedience, or basically a non-cooperation movement against the Chinese authorities. So on Lhakar, and this happens every Wednesday. Wednesday because that's the sole day of His Holiness. So that's the day, according to the Tibetan astrology, when we are born, in that particular year and corresponding to the animal of that year, we have three kind of different days for, activities. So it's soul day, and then obstacle day, and then the life forceful day. So basically, it's better to say Lhakar. It's let me just write it. Lhasa, Soksa, and Shesa. So basically, these are the days. On some particular days, it's good to have your, even it's very favorable days. And then there are other days we call it Shesa. It's that's the day when we don't kind of do any involve in any activities, because that would bring some obstacles. So basically, Lhasa and Soksa are they're two good days, and Wednesday falls on His Holiness's good day. So that's the day when when we do any activities, we especially engage in religious activities or any kind of program that it's basically a favorable day. So that's why it's called the Lhakar, and then it's the sole day of His Holiness. So the movement started back in Tibet by the Tibetans. So whereby on this day, on Wednesday, they kind of patronize Tibetan restaurants, Tibetan businesses, wear Tibetan clothes, eat Tibetan food, talk in Tibetan. That's a kind of a non-cooperation movement against the Chinese, and basically trying to, it was a big successful movement back in Tibet. And then it came out to exile, and that's what we're doing every Wednesday, basically. We wear the countdown, and so that's the countdown. Yeah, so that's really what it is, and thank you so much, again, and coming back. Oh yeah, I just wanted to talk about, sunset. On His Holiness's 90th birthday, and the sunset we just celebrated His Holiness's 90th birthday on July 6th, and we were having a very long celebration. This year is from this July 6th to next July 6th is the year of compassion. That's what we have here. So basically, His Holiness is always about non-violence, peace, empathy, inclusiveness, and it's about having interfaith, dialogue and unity. So that's what really what it is about His Holiness. So pertaining to that, we just wanted to we'll be having a year-long program whereby let me just give you a kind of a thing, activities that we plan to have for this year, from July to next July 6th. So it's going to be like personal pledges for the year of compassion. Basically, that means you want to pledge. For instance, last time, before the birthday celebration, there was Tibetan who said, they're going to pledge that they're not going to eat meat, they're going to be vegetarian every Wednesday. For, like some said for a year, some said they're not going to eat, non-vegetarian for all their lives. So that's one of the pleasures. And then we plan to have mindfulness workshops, interfaith dialogues on compassion. Then we're going to set up a mobile library on Tibet and Ethiopians. Then we're going to be having rallies for peace, bikers, cyclists, people that just, their feet getting restless, they're wanting to start the dancing. Right, thank you so much. 아니, 우리 소재나 쉬어야지. 당연히 배치도 이제 남수 캔도체도 쉬어입니다. 또 좋은데 안에 별이 여러 개 쉬어입니다. 아마도 나중에 받아 주체. 아니, 다들 고등이 내시디 고등이 주체. 이 로직을 가지고 주체. 아니, 나로는 내시 가르쳐 주셔야 되는 주체. 이 모두 쉬어체. 아니, 소배게 가르쳐 주시기는 아니 내시기는 아주 공부 쉬고 내시고 지나 아주 내시 가리는 배웠잖아. 많이 수준을 높이기 최고로 쉬셔야 아주 남들의 가르쳐와 the center for this thank you so much. And so next we have okay, so next we have Trim Baula. I think we have Hamutu who kind of, was so kind enough to get some, cake to celebrate His Holiness's birthday and basically to celebrate partner. So we'll have that once we're done with Sri Paula's performances. And let me just introduce Sri Paula. Turing Doji, affectionately known as Turing Bawa, stands as a luminary of the realm of Tibetan performing arts, weaving a rich tapestry of music, dance, and acting that spans over 3 decades. Hello. So while we are kind of sitting down, I would like a senior to perform.
Girls, would you like to have a cake?
The spoons, mommy. You see, go over there.
They can't chew it.
Finish it.
That's